So in today's video, I will be starting a new sketchbook, which is always an exciting time.
I love you.
I decided to try the Royal Talens Art Creation sketchbook because I see it being recommended a lot, and surprisingly it's quite affordable. I didn't realize that. For the first page, I decided to draw a scene from my recent travels to Madeira, as I had a lovely time there and the scenery was really pretty. Throughout the video, we'll be trying different mediums, from colored pencils to pens to watercolors and even gouache, because this claims to be handling quite a few mediums, so I wanted to see how it would perform. I like the fact that the sketchbook comes in a variety of different colors and sizes. I personally went for a baby pink colored A4 size. And spoiler alert, since getting this sketchbook about a month ago, I actually went to an art store and got myself a square A5-ish size to have with me in my backpack. The paper in this sketchbook is about 140 GSM, which I think it's not too thin but not too thick, and the pages are cream colored, which personally I do prefer that than a completely white paper, but I know some people don't like this quite so much. Here, after I drew the first page, I wasn't actually sure how to complete the whole spread, so I asked my followers for a few suggestions and then drew a few thumbnail sketches in a smaller sketchbook, because sometimes I think it's very good to use thumbnail sketches to put ideas down on paper. I actually combined two of the ideas. I went for a bit of a graphic approach, and then I sort of mirrored a different type of cliff on the other side. Another thing I like about this sketchbook is the cover. It has a leather imitation, which feels quite nice. And one thing that I noticed, which I really liked, is that the pencils don't seem to smudge quite so much. My previous sketchbook had thinner paper, and the graphite would always transfer to the next page when the sketchbook was closed, but I didn't notice this so far with this sketchbook. So I would say the colored pencils worked very nice with the sketchbook. It had a lovely texture, and also the liners worked well as well. Nothing bled through the paper, which is always nice. Now in the next segment we will be trying some watercolors. I heard it's not performing quite so well with really wet watercolors, but I tested it and I think it worked quite well. This is from an art date I did with some friends. We were doing some observational studies and I just saw this nice tree and I wanted to paint it. One thing I noticed, you cannot layer the watercolor a lot, so probably 1 to 2 layers is the best, but then you can always go on top with some colored pencils and that seems to work quite lovely. So yeah, if you were a landscape watercolorist, I don't think this is the best sketchbook for you, but I still think it's a good way to experiment with watercolors on it. And in my travel size version of this sketchbook, I tried gouache as well. And can you believe I only paid just over €3 for this one? But talking about the gouache, I actually think it works much better than the watercolor, obviously because it's a medium where you don't have to use as much water, and the paper hasn't waved at all with gouache, which I was really happy about. Next, I thought, why not just test some graphite pencils, the OGs, and I just wanted to do a spread full of doggies because I really like dogs and they make me happy, and drawing these 2 pages really made me happy, so enjoy a few seconds of me drawing some dogs. The graphite worked just as expected, just as good as the colored pencils. Now I wanted to test it more with watercolors because the first time I was outdoors, I was with friends, but this time I said, okay, let's do a bit more testing. So I found some pictures on Pinterest of peaches, and recently I discovered I do enjoy painting fruits, so I gave this a go. I did layer a few colors around, and I actually tried to use a bit more water, and again there weren't any problems, and I actually like how the watercolor looks on this paper. I usually use quite textured watercolor paper, so I haven't really used smooth paper for my watercolors, but I have to admit I was a big fan. Then I went with a bit of gouache to give it a background, and yeah, it performed really well. I must admit I'm quite impressed with this sketchbook for the price. I think it's very affordable and I think it's very versatile, so I definitely see why it's so popular. And lastly, I did this drawing on my latest trip to Wales of some observational drawing again. Actually, this was part of my previous video where I gave a few sketchbook ideas that you can try, so you can always watch that for more ideas and to see the full process of this drawing. So in conclusion, yeah, I really like this sketchbook. I definitely recommend it, and I hope you enjoyed watching me making some art, and I hope you really stick around because I love to see you in my next video. Bye!